The cognitive approach uses the experimental method. This means manipulation of the independent variable. So this is way more scientific than most approaches. Another strength is that it deals with the mind, which is central to any understanding of human psychology. This is important because all humans have minds. One weakness associated with the cognitive approach is that it assumes all people's cognitive processes are the same, thus not accounting for individual characteristics. This includes DNA or environmental. We also tend to refer to the cognitive approach as a comparison to a computer or information processing, and this analogy to information processing is too reductionistic. It doesn't account for other factors or levels of explanation, example, social or emotional. Biological approach refers to the physiology of the body. When studying this, some strengths include the involvement of direct observation, such as brain activity. We saw this in Dement and Kleitman with the use of the EEG machine. Machines being hooked up directly to our participants, we're able to view live data. This process is really scientific. Another strength of the biological approach is that it uses devices that record information. This recording overall makes the data more reliable. When it comes to the weaknesses of the biological approach, it often comes across as reductionistic. Can we really only give credit for complex intentions and emotions to single and small parts of the brain or the physiological process? There's definitely a lot more going on here. Another weakness is that findings often only show associations or correlations. We are not yet able to show direct cause and effects. Moving on to the learning approach, we see a lot of strengths here. Simply by studying the learning approach, it could provide useful information on what behavior is learned and what behavior is inherited, also known as the nature versus nurture debate. Another strength is that it emphasizes growth and change and how an early life experience can have various consequences at later stages. I guess you could call this preventative maintenance for the future. Having the ability to learn from our mistakes, or figure out if it's just DNA or something we can't change about ourselves. Weaknesses associated with the learning approach are time. Because of the time needed, attrition can occur, meaning that participants might drop out of the study. Someone might be 9 years old when they enter the study, and they're supposed to be 22 when they leave. But people move, drop out. Another weakness is that children are usually used in learning approach studies, and children are not adults. Therefore, we cannot generalize the information we get from these children in the study to the general population. Now, within the social approach, a strength is that it tends to be a holistic approach. If you remember, that was the complete opposite of the biological approach. Being holistic allows it to look at different levels of explanation for behavior. A good example of this would be Milgram. We did see obedient behavior, but why did it happen? Subsequent studies showed us that by changing the environment or the clothing of the researcher, that people would obey less. Secondly, we can discover how we are likely to behave in social situations. We follow a script we have learned from society about society. When studying society, we have to account for the fact that behavior may become redundant. This means that it's no longer needed or useful because behavior is changing. So old, outdated information is no longer useful. When it comes down to it, social behavior is necessarily cultural bound. Therefore, a study conducted in one culture may say little or nothing about any other culture. This makes it very difficult to generalize studies that are done within the social approach. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Don't forget to comment down below what other areas of psychology you want me to cover.
And don't forget to check out the Patreon classroom.